Hey guys, I know it's been a long time since I posted anything. Been super busy at work. It's late on a Sunday night. I know it looks like absolute trash in here. It's a mess. Work's been busy, but anyway, one of the things I wanted to go over today is probably four weapons that you can find great deals on the secondary market right now, the used market. Um, that are going to be stellar, impeccable choices for the price that you can get on them right now, and how they'll come to serve you. And I'll explain in detail much more about each one and why specifically I picked them. Some of them are stuff that I already own. Some of them are stuff that I recently acquired. However, even the stuff that I've already owned, I'm going to tell you the simple fact of the matter of that the real money street price on it is totally worth it right now. The bang for you buck that you're going to get. So we're going to start out with a couple of pistols. And one of the ones I really like, mind you, I'm big on old school cool. So if you're big on old school cool also, you'll definitely like these. So anyways, first one I want to talk about, if you are an Army fan, if you are an 80s fan, if you've watched too much Black Hawk Down, okay, one of the ones I really like, and actually I like it so much it's become one of my regular carry pistols, is the JSOC 45 from Mac. Okay, I'm going to go over a little bit of why I like this gun, and then the real street price roughly you can get for it, and why it's worth it to you. First off, you get a traditional single stack 1911 45. Okay, now with the JSOC, as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but the frame, slide, and a lot of the major components are in fact sourced out of Turkey. They're effectively TSIS forged frames and slides that you can see says TSIS Turkey right on the bottom of the dust cover. But the thing I like about it is they are final fit finish QC'd here in the United States. And let me tell you why that's important, okay? You get an amazing trigger in it that actually is aluminum. You get an aluminum mag well with the checkered backstrap or mainspring housing. You also get a checkered front strap for a really good overall grip, okay? You get a reverse target crowned an 11-degree crown stainless match grade barrel. Okay, you get ambidextrous safety, skeletonized hammer, beaver tail grip safety. Safety is fairly positive for a 1911. That's one of the first things that you look for. Okay, actually is metal, all metal components, which is nice. And you get an extended magazine release from the factory. The shootability on this is really nice. Okay, you get blended front sight that's dovetailed. It's a brass bead, sticking with that, effectively that late 80s, early 90s Delta theme. Don't have an original Bomar, but you get an LPA adjustable rear sight Bomar style. The fit, not a lot of frame wiggle. Overall, just a really smooth cycling gun. I would say very, very crisp 4-ish pound trigger. Some people don't like the Military Armament Corporation logo on the side. That I could deal without. Other people have complained about the Mac logo, with the combat knife on the side. That I actually like. You get Allen key grip screws, an adjustable trigger. Okay, the overall finish. This one's been an everyday truck gun for quite some time, and you can see there's almost no finish missing. It's a tough, a really nice tough finish. This is going to be, I would compare this to any of the Springfield Armory guns that you could get for way more money, and I'll tell you why. For those of you guys that are like, buy USA, I'm with you. I'm all for that. Problem being that quote unquote buying USA, okay, Springfield Armory frames and slides, first off, most of their frames, actually all of their frames, since the probably mid 90s, early 90s, have been made by Imbel in Brazil. So, and the Turkish are getting way up there. As you can see, it's just an overall really nice, lot of bang for your buck 45. If you like that old school Delta gun style, we're in the middle of working on an actual Series 70 Colt Delta buildup that's basically going to look exactly like this gun, except for it's going to say Colt on it. And I think I'll like that one just as much. Probably not any more than this one. This is a really, really good, solid piece of steel for the money. And to be quite honest with you, you can come across these, or you can regularly order them on Gunbroker. I haven't checked the price today, but the last couple times I checked them, generally speaking, you can find these for $800 or less. I think I got this one probably a year ago for all of about $725. Came with 2 Metgar magazines that already have the base pads on them. So that right there, if you like the old school Delta 1911 feel, great gun, still perfectly acceptable for everyday carry if you carry a 5-inch. And also, just as an overall shooter, I would definitely say this is one that after shooting it, after carrying it for a while, this is definitely something I would not be afraid to have to defend myself on a daily basis. As you can see, it's an old Safariland belt slide, old leather one. It's a regular everyday gun. I absolutely love it. And like I said, tons of bang for your buck. I'll put it up against any of the $1,000 plus Springfields for about $250 less money. Okay. Now, number 2, the next pistol on our list that you can get for a really good deal right now. This one I actually just recently got for a smoking deal, and you can see by the wear on the edges, it's pretty well worn, but still plenty shootable. Still got tons of life left in it, and you can still get replacement springs for it rather easy. I was just able to obtain a couple extra original 12-round magazines, and if you have big enough bear paws to handle it, I have always absolutely loved the good old USP 45. Okay, this one I actually just recently picked up used from a good buddy of mine that runs a local shop. Obviously it's got some wear on it, but it's still a plenty usable gun. Already came with the TLR3 with the H&K adapter, so that's a good solid choice right there. Functional light. Like I said, you got to have fairly massive hands to be able to activate the light on here. But overall, good choice. It came with, I want to say, a total of 4 magazines. 3 of them were like 10 rounders. There was only one original 12 rounder. So I went ahead and ordered a new spring for that one, and I ordered 2 Mark 23 magazines that I was able to fetch. Gun Mag Warehouse ran out of stock of them. However, the Mag Shack had a couple left. And just a good overall gun if you can handle double stack 45 in your traditional double single. Okay, single side safety, kind of old school. So H&K rail on it, so you will need that adapter. I believe you can pick those up from HK Parts right now for about 23 bucks, which would allow you to put basically any Streamlight on there. So good overall choice. Plenty usable, accurate weapon, mild recoil for being a 45, super accurate, and with a good cleaning, maybe a recoil spring, and you can go ahead and do. Basically, I intended on just buying every replacement spring I could get for it and trying to do essentially a full rebuild on this one. But they are still available. I went on gunsprings.com, and they had their replacement recoil spring, replacement trigger spring, replacement hammer spring, replacement. I want to say it even had the extractor spring on it. But yeah, go through a nice little rebuild. This one actually still had somewhat usable. They're getting a little up there, but it's got some usable night sights on it. I believe these ones are unmarked, so I'm gonna guess these are probably HK factory sights that were placed on at a later time. But given the glow that these bad boys got left, I would place them at getting close to their half-life, right around that 10-year-old mark. But still a super usable gun, fairly collectible gun because it's HK, and because of the size of the weapon and the availability of magazines. These right here are going for really, really decent prices on the secondary market right now. If you ever wanted a good old USP 45, you know, and it's good truck gun, good if you live up in Alaska, Wyoming, Montana, you know, it's a decent bear backup gun and stuff like that. Just something nice to have around the truck. You can pick these up for really cheap, and you know, pretty close to that good old Mark 23 SOCOM. Some of us still remember watching Tears of the Sun as a little kid and just wanting a Mark 23. A little bit difficult to find, but a USP 45 still a fine choice. Like I said, recently picked that one up around 600 bucks. Be a very, very good option for somebody looking to get a good solid used gun that's going to have a, you know, little bit of collector value because it says H&K, and you know, just something fun and hard to find. Magazines, a little bit on the pricey side for HK. A replacement magazine, USP 45 mags, 12 rounders are going to be almost impossible to find. But like I said, you can pick up Mark 23 magazines for about, well, I know HK USA has them in stock. The Mag Shack has them in stock, and Gun Mag Warehouse should be getting them back in. All three places seem to run between $60 and $69 for Mark 23 SOCOM magazines. Not the cheapest, but a fine piece of equipment, and to get it that cheap and grab a couple of extra pairs of magazines, I think you'll be in good shape. One of the other ones I want to talk about that I recently got back, and I'll explain that more, is this one. We're going to talk more about the upper than the whole rifle. This was a rifle that I had on consignment, and I chose to go ahead and get it back because for some reason or another it wasn't selling all the way down at like the $1,000 mark. Okay, this one specifically is a Voltor VRAR lower receiver that has the oversized magazine release, all the Voltor markings, built-in QD plate. Very, very good lowers if you could find them, and somewhat collectible. So if you could run across a Voltor lower, I would go ahead and grab one just because, you know, it's something cool and different, and you can get them for really reasonably priced. It did not have the flashlight on it or the backup sights. It had regular, you know, cheapy Magpul plastic ones, but this is an unfired PWS long stroke piston upper, one of the early 2013 models with the chrome lined barrel, and it was unfired and it was sitting around, and at first I was like, yeah, I'll put it on consignment. The prices just couldn't fetch a good price for it, and so I went ahead, I brought it back, slapped a spare Surefire on it. I know it's the wrong color, but you know, it doesn't matter. Slapped a spare set of Knights Armament backup sights on it, and then I did a little optics swapping around, so I swapped my Romeo Juliet combo onto it. But when we're talking about just the bare rifle, modern PWS long stroke uppers, for those of you guys that are old school like me and enjoy and just feel right having a chrome lined barrel, they haven't made them in years, probably about 13 years now. This production run, I think, was the last one that they actually used a chrome line barrel on. So you can find these uppers used from time to time. Obviously, this one has key mod. I don't particularly see anything wrong with key mod except for the lack of accessories, but I'll get into that in a second also. But overall, a very, very solid upper if you wanted to get into the piston game with something that you know is just going to perform. Okay. So one of the things that you can do is you can actually replace this rail system from PWS. I did call them, and they did say that yes, they have these replacement rails in M-LOK available for prior PWS owners. They're not in stock on the website, but they may have a couple floating around. Replacement rails to update that to M-LOK is about $150. So if you can find a used PWS upper and key mod, don't don't feel bad about giving it a shot. You know, you never know what kind of built guns. So I think I want to categorize this in just any quote-unquote built guns or mismatched upper lowers that you see at your local gun store. Okay, always look around, peek through components and stuff like that. You absolutely never know what you're going to find, because like I said, if somebody would have grabbed this on consignment, I think, you know, it had been there for so long. I think my buddy marked it all the way down to like $1,100. Somebody would have got, I think, a steal. But I'm glad to have it back because I remember how much I enjoyed these uppers and how reliable and lightweight they are, and I think this would make a great little scouting rifle. So, plus I was trying to reconsolidate the AR collection, get more out of the AR stuff, and just have a couple of core rifles that I really enjoy, and I figured that would most definitely be one of them. So, let's just summate that segment into when you're at your local gun store, gun show, whatever, look at the built rifles, see what kind of goodies you might find in there. Okay. Now, last but not least, one of the things I want to talk about that you can get a stellar deal on right now, because trust me, that Block 2 that was up here, I just had to sell it for really cheap. I actually ended up selling it on tax swap, and well, long story short, the buyer was less than honest. So ended up kind of getting screwed on that deal, but it's okay because really got way too much stuff and I'm trying to size down a little bit. So you can get great deals on clone rifles right now. This one, no, I'm not getting rid of it, but it's definitely something, if you find one, I would look into it. But we're talking about the good old Mark 12, okay? You can find these for a really reasonable price right now when you find a good clone build, okay? And it's still super functional, super usable as an all-purpose rifle, as a mountain gun. You know, 5.56 and standard AR magazines. Really comfortable gun to shoot, super accurate. Basically, any Mark 12 clone that I've ever shot has been super accurate. And the reality of it is that this gun, obviously less the Versapod, but this gun to build the core clone rifle, when you have everything correct, takes about, I want to say in the range of $2,200. Obviously, some of us built ours a long time ago when it was a lot cheaper because those components were still available off the shelf. But now that the clone market is so flooded, you know, don't be afraid to look around and see if check out people's clones that they're getting rid of, because you can get some really good deals. So this right here, I was checking prices recently, and it looks like most Mark 12 clones, good Mark 12 clones even, are selling for about $1,500–$1,600, somewhere in that range on the secondary market. But let me tell you what you would get. Like, let's say if I was to sell this one right now, yeah, I would be lucky to get 16. Well, maybe because of the scope, I might get, you know, and if I sold it with the Versapod, I might get $1,800, $2,000 out of it. But the reality of it is, it's about a $1,600 rifle. But think about what you would get for $1,600. So this one is the actual original Allen Engineering brake and collar kit. Okay, this is on a Ballistic Advantage Premium Series barrel. So stainless steel, black nitrided with the DLC coated barrel extension. It's the actual Mark 12 contour. Okay, this is the Precision Reflex front sight gas block, right? And Precision Reflex Gen 3 rail with the full-length top rail to adapt it. This has, even if you order the, this is the other cool part, instead of buying something like this brand new, if you order a Mark 12 clone from somebody, it's very rare right now that anybody has the actual correct ARMS 40L rear sight. And this one was available back then. So if you hit somebody's clone on the secondary market, there's a very good chance you're actually going to get more correct parts like that 40L rear sight. This one actually has the correct arms number 22 medium throw lever rings, which are also like unobtainium right now. So that's why I tell you, save some money, go on the secondary market. This one has a old school Rock River 2-stage trigger. This one does actually have the Precision Reflex gas buster charging handle. So GI style ambi safety, that was just by choice. And this one is actually built, it was originally on a Armalite receiver, one of the Armalite like Fairchild Industries Pegasus logo throwback receivers, but I swapped it out with this FN M16 lower receiver. I thought having an M16 lower receiver would look cool. And then this bad boy is topped off with a, this is an old period correct. I know it's period correct because we actually bought this directly from SWAFA in about 1998, but this is one of the original SWAFA fixed 10 power mil dots, right when they still had a, you know, after the Tasco Super Sniper contract was finished. So this was, I believe, actually one of the leftover Tasco world class, made in Japan, mil dot, 10 by 42. Super good scope, has lasted forever, still holds zero after almost 30 years. But you know, something like this, you know, Navy scope on a Mark 12, some people might jump all over that. And yeah, if somebody was getting rid of a build like this, I would most definitely jump all over it for the prices that things are going for right now. So you know, I understand the economy is a little bit difficult right now, but if there's ever something you were looking for or you were looking to get a great deal, there is so many of them out there right now. So check your local gun stores, look around on Gunbroker, see if, you know, the built guns, you can almost always get a decent price on those, but look and see if somebody's got clones they're getting rid of. Like I said, for some reason, it seems like a few years ago, a USP was still, you know, $1,000+ in the last couple of years. I think because of magazine availability, the prices have just tanked on them. So if you ever wanted one, you know, you can still get magazines. You got to be a little bit more diligent about click and refresh when you see some coming in. If you ever want a good 1911, definitely look into that Mac JSOC. I don't think you're going to get more bang for your buck right now. And as a matter of fact, I should also tell you, these things, because they were so, people turned their nose up at them so much when they first came in. Some people were selling these as cheap as $679. You won't find them for that price anymore because I think people are starting to catch on. But if you could find them for $750, $775, still a ton of gun for the money. So get out there and look around, see what you can find. There's tons and tons of great deals out there. And hey, let me know what you find, or if there's something else that's just a screaming deal right now, or if you happen to find a Steyr AUG in stock, you know, definitely give me a holler. But sorry about the wait. I'll get back on some more videos here shortly. We're still unpacking stuff, so there's a ton of content coming, but I definitely need to get my ass back on the schedule. So anyway, if you have any comments, concerns, hit me up and let me know. Thanks.